Hi, everybody. My name is Andrea LaPlante. I am a certified health coach with the Dr. Sears Wellness Institute. I'm also a national marketing director with the Juice Plus company. And tonight we're just gathering for some just really important messages that we share. We get together as a community. And what we're talking about tonight is the Tower Garden, which is a way to grow your own produce, contaminant free and healing the earth and the most nutritious and delicious produce that you can get your hands on. But I just want to share with you a few actually paragraphs out of this book called Eat Dirt. And one of the reasons we're so passionate about sharing the Tower Garden, I mean, yes, we get very spoiled and we can talk about being lettuce snobs and how great the produce tastes. And you can smell the basil from across the room. And it's the most nutritious produce you can get your hands on. You're growing year round. But one of the reasons why I like to share this is in just 20 years, 94% of soybeans and 89% of corn growth in the US farmlands came from Roundup Ready GMO crops. So, I mean, we're dealing with a lot of herbicides and pesticides and things like that that are on our food. But what this book actually talks about is what's happened to our agriculture and what's happened to our food in the process is that within the next 60 years or so, um, there's not going to be enough quality topsoil to sustain the human population. And that's nobody's fault. You know, we're just going along. We're doing the best we can. But what's happened is our soil has decreased in quality, and it's the soil depletion piece of it. Today, we're exposed to more environmental toxins on a daily basis than ever before. And this here just goes to talk about spinach lost 47% of its folate and carotenoids after only 4 days at room temperature or 8 days in a refrigerator. 15 and 77% of their vitamin C content within a week after being picked. And dozens of other nutrients are quickly lost. Now we know that things are transported, there's storage. Fresh fruits and vegetables are actually supposed to be perishable, which is normal. But when they're sensitive to air, light, and heat, and what happens is when we have this food that's in a distribution channel sent to we get it at the grocery store, we bring it home, it may sit on our shelf. Nutritionally, the quality isn't there. So what happened was the United States launched an investigation, the decreasing quality of our soil. And what it reported was the alarming fact that food, fruits, and vegetables and grains now being raised on millions of acres of land that no longer contain enough certain needed nutrients are starving us no matter how much we eat of it. So we are all doing the best we can, but this is a great solution. I'm just going to pull up some slides here so everybody can see. And Linda, give me a thumbs up if you can see the presentation. Can you see it? Okay, great. I just want to make sure that you can see the slides. So we're talking about Tower Gardens today, and Tim Blank is the chief horticulturalist at the land exhibit at Disney. So most people know about Disney, and in Epcot there was an actual, I don't know if you would call it a ride, but it was, you get in the boat and you go around and you see all the produce in Disney, and people were pulling Tim aside and saying, how can we grow this produce? How can we get this technology into individuals' hands around the globe? And Tim actually left Disney to create the Tower Garden. And I mean, it sounds very easy to say that, but he's brilliant. He's a brilliant man. He has this unbelievable vision about using the air instead of, and the vertical instead of horizontally in the earth, and using up topsoil that we know is already depleted, and taking advantage of the air that we have vertically. And on the left is the Tower Garden home. You can see it has the wheels on it in place, and it's got a lower basin for water, grow lights, and the Tower Garden Flex is on the right, and it doesn't have the grow lights on it. It's outside. It has a larger basin on the bottom. I have two flex gardens. They're in my house. One is, you can see the light in front of me. You can't see the garden, but it's about 6 feet away from me. And I grow my greens year round indoor, and I have one in my basement as well. So I have two gardens growing. I have a lot of celery on mine because I like to juice my celery, and I've got herbs and different things like that, but I'm growing my greens that I'm eating every day. My husband actually just said the other day, he doesn't handle the Tower Gardens at all. And he just says to me, are you going to plant any more seeds? We're running out of lettuce. Like, we've been just making salad after salad after salad. And he likes a certain kind of lettuce. So I need to start planting some new seeds. But the Tower Garden is really, it is the future of growing. There's no dirt. NASA did a study on the Tower Garden, NASA, and they found that instead of 90% less water, it's not uses up 98% less water. Now, when you think about the depletion in our soil and having to use water to maintain gardens, a lot of times the water runs off the garden. It's not able to be recycled in the way that you can do it in this basin. 90% less space, 100% success. So when you look at that basin, there's water in there and it's just recycling itself. And then when it runs low, you fill it back up. The water goes up the top of the tower, it trickles down with the earth minerals on it, and it feeds the plants. It's alive until you eat it. It doesn't take up space in your fridge. There's no distribution channel, no carbon footprint, no soil to have to worry about. You grow what you love. You can grow year round. And we live in New England, and I'm growing my greens. I feel I'm so grateful about this. And the Tower Garden, in terms of most people know when you go to the store, I would love to get celery to juice, and it would be a couple of bags of organic celery gone the next day for a little cup. And I'd have to worry about the contamination on it, or where is it from, and to try and keep up with buying it. So I don't have to worry about that growing my own. But the earth friendly piece of it, I talked a little bit about that. It's tower to table. Only 10% of the land and water of a traditional farm now. Someone else described it to me as a half acre of tower gardens equates to 30 acres of land in produce. Now, just think about that. A half acre of tower gardens equates to 30 acres of land in produce. And think of how many plants that can sustain for humans. So when we go back to what I read in this book about the human population and soil depletion, this doesn't require soil at all. So we will be able to sustain human population and nutrient dense food with tower gardens. It recycles 100% of the water. And I absolutely love no contaminants. I just pick it and eat it. So there's no recalls. You don't have to worry about E. coli or 60 people touching it, or, where has this been and what's on it? And do I need to clean it off? I just pick it and throw it in my juicer or in my smoothie, or I just walk around eating it. I don't even wash it. So, as a visual looking from week 1 to week 3, one of the things about the towers, it grows 3 times faster. So you plant your seedlings, you pop them in, and it's like a plug and play. And as authentic as I can be, I'm a mom of 3 kids, and I can't keep plants alive in my house. And so to take this on, I thought, wow, I don't have a green thumb. And I've been able to grow my 2 towers, which is it's so exciting. It feels like Christmas every day because I'm growing my own food and I don't have a green thumb. I don't have to worry about all the intricacies of having an outdoor garden and pests and things like that. So the picture on the right just shows a little bit closely what the rock wool looks like. It's a volcanic ash, and you just pop your little seeds in there, top it with some vermiculite, and your seedlings start to grow, and then you put them in the towers. So these are just visuals for people to get an idea. You can have one, you can have more than one on your back deck. I know someone had one in their closet in New York City. When space is limited, this is on a balcony. You can see it's on a high rise here. People growing their own produce. As long as you have a plug so that the water can recycle itself, the timer kicks on, and then the lights kick on and off. And that's why it's so user friendly. You plug it in, set the timers, and you can walk away. Visually and aesthetically, this was in Better Homes and Gardens just because it is really beautiful. But thinking about outside the box, Hunter Pace was a major league baseball player at AT&T Park in California. I don't know if I haven't kept up with him personally, so I don't know if he's still playing there or whatnot, but he really wanted to bring some clean food into ballparks. So you can see the towers here, and they're using it for salads and on burgers and things like that in the ballpark. And he's very concerned about fueling as an athlete and wanted to make sure there was healthier options. And then taking this to a whole new level, if you take the time to look up Stephen Ritz, who is absolutely one of the most incredible men. He lost a child, and he just devotes everything to kids. And he's a teacher in the South Bronx, and his kids were failing in school. They couldn't get any clean food in the area. It was one of the most toxic places in the United States where he lived. And he wanted to bring food in, give these kids an option to understand how to grow their own food and take some control. And he found the Tower Garden at a I guess you would call it a farm stand, or he was going to some type of a event where someone had their tower on display, and he brought it into the classroom, and sky's the limit. He has towers in Dubai now, and he's met the Pope and kids from all over the world, but he created the world's first wellness center in the South Bronx. And the participation rate of kids has skyrocketed. He now has like 99% attendance rate in school. They're jumping on bikes and pedaling, and it's getting the blenders going, and they're making their food. They are growing basil and making pesto and selling that back to their communities. They're learning where their food, that they can take control back and have the food that everybody deserves to have. Don't we all deserve to have clean, nutritious food? I mean, who decides who gets it and who doesn't? And just because you're born in an area where there's, just as Stephen Ritz said, just convenience stores on the corner and no access to any clean produce. He's completely changed the infrastructure of the South Bronx. This is in my town. When my kids were little, I had the fourth grade class at the Plainville Wood School. We grew their greens, and this was them taste testing their plants. And I had parents saying, my child has never had anything green before. This is so amazing. And kids would say, I didn't know that bok choy was spicy. I think probably one of the biggest aha moments for me was when a child came up to me and said, Mrs. LaPlante, I didn't know lettuce had a smell. And I didn't either. I said, oh my gosh, I really never thought of it that way. Usually if I had lettuce from a store, like thinking back growing up, the iceberg lettuce in a bag almost smells like bleachy. I don't know how to explain it, but definitely not like an herb that you pick and you're smelling the nutrient density, just aroma. You're supposed to smell your food. Your produce should be, oozing with smell and aroma. And that's how you know how clean and fresh it is. So then we started sniffing all the different lettuces and understanding the taste and the spicy and what basil smells like. And it was on our fingers, and we couldn't get the smell off our fingers in a good way. And so this is North Attleboro, and I have there's about 11 towers in schools in North Attleboro school systems from K all the way up through high school. This is a nursery school where they're using the towers as curriculum. And then restaurants, where restaurants popping up all over the world. This is Bell Book and Candle in New York City. All of the towers on the roof sustain the restaurant below in the summer. It keeps the air conditioning and the bills at bay, because before that, they didn't have that insulation. But what was really cool is the fact that they don't have to ship and distribute all this produce into the city. So you're not having to deal with as much with, shipping with the trucks and the deliveries and the road. But not only that, is the bees are coming back to the city because of the towers. So this is an example of the Tower Gardens in O'Hare Airport. And I just love this picture. I think it's so ironic that there's a man looking out the window at the planes coming and going, but their produce is right there. So you don't have to worry about shipping it in. And they had the world's first farmers market in the airport. And they use all the produce to sustain the restaurants in the airport. And then again, with community related services, this is the vets that you can have interaction with the vets, or if you want to think about even nursery schools, but even elderly as activity departments, and when you think about people getting older, not able to actually bend down and weed and water and till and all of those things. But just because you get older and you may not have the ability physically to do that, to have to say goodbye to something that means so much to you, to grow your own food or your hobby, you can do this now in elderly centers and nursing homes, or different places where an elderly person might not be able to garden, or even in their own home. So this is an image of my tower. You can see outside through the blinds, we had a blizzard, and I didn't have to worry about my greens because they were growing on my tower. And if you live near a beach, it's not readily available for you to be able to grow in sand. So if you want to have it on your back deck, you can do that. And then if you think outside the box and you love the idea of feeding the world, this is it really, I mean, the options are endless, from community farms to commercial farms, and then obviously growing what you love, taking it on the road. I mean, talking about having the ability to just pick up and go, but still be able to take control of your own produce and your greens. This is a great example of setting your tower garden up, hooking it up to your RV, and there you go. I also saw one on a boat. Someone had their tower on a boat. So you can really, as long as you have your electricity, you're good. So in terms of starting a tower, there's so many reasons, but it is food grade plastic, has a UV protective coating. Um, it's 98% less water, includes, if you say today, you're like, I want one of these and you want to buy it, you'd get everything in it to start and to grow with your tower. In terms of pests, even outside, I've had people ask me, well, do you have problems with deer or things like, I've had mine outside. When I bring my indoor one outside, I haven't had any pest issues, because when the water kicks on, it scares whatever would come around. I haven't had any issues, and most people I've talked to, it's the same thing, because the water kicks on. And then of course no contaminants, which is amazing, and it's more nutritious. So we are part of a company called the Juice Plus Company, and the company has been around for 45 years. And we first came out with this nutritional of fruits, vegetables, and berries. When I talked about food, just something you can smell and bite into the peach, and it's oozing and it's really sweet and it tastes delicious, that's when you know it's nutritionally dense. But a lot of our produce is very bland, because it has been gone through a distribution channel, hasn't had a chance to reach its nutritional peak so that it can look pretty in a store. But these plants that our farmers grow are allowed to ripen on the vine. Everything's thrown into a big pulverizer, whole. So you have the whole pineapple, the whole broccoli head. We actually grow bitter broccoli for our nutritional, because it is more nutrient dense. We grow a darker, richer cherry and cranberry. We have specifications for this nutrition, and if that's something that inspires you and you like the idea of adding this to your diet, you can ask the person who invited you onto the call to learn more about that. But basically, it's whole food. It's a salad bar in a capsule. Children are free for up to 4 years. And we have a vegan nutritional beverage as well. But we are plant-based nutrition, vegan omega, and we're the most thoroughly researched nutritional in the world, with the certification that someone comes in and make sure there's no contaminants on it. And that's really where the tower garden comes into. So you can also grow your own. And if you want to add it, like my family loves to be able to get that variety that you saw in the image of all of those plants. And then we grow our own on the tower garden as well. And there is research at the University of Mississippi comparing to a soil garden. And you can see the details here. So I'm just going to stop the share now. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask. But thank you for joining us tonight. And I'm just going to say, you know, as someone who owns a tower garden that doesn't have a green thumb, it's been such a gift, and it's really fun. You would think it probably looks, it is state of the art, but it's very user friendly. And if anybody wants to share, I know Linda, you have one, and Mary, I can see yours behind you. What are your top 3 things that you love about your tower garden? If you want to unmute yourself.
My water is running right now, so I don't know. If
Mine is too. You can hear mine. Oh, I can see yours now behind you, Linda.
Yeah, the light's kind of oops, a little mess up. The light's kind of bright. Anyway, I love the fact that I can just go into the dining room, pick what I need to eat. I love that no one else is touching my produce. It doesn't come in plastic. I'm not getting it shipped from, I don't even know where these days, California or Mexico, or you're going to the supermarket and you just can't find anything that feels nutritious. It's so much greener. The color is more vibrant. And I love that my family just eats more. We just tend to eat more salads now than we ever ate, because we're not running out, and it regrows. I used to think when I first got it that, I don't know, you harvest this head of lettuce and then it's gone, but we just go in and cut what we need. And these seeds could last anywhere from, I don't know, 4 to 5 months before I just start replanting. And I put my seeds right into the rock wool, into the tower. And I don't know. It's been great.
I love it. Mary, how about you?
Well, I love the fact that I've grown things and eaten things now that I've never eaten, like bok choy and Swiss chard. I never ate those things before, and sometimes I just eat them or throw them in my salad, or I put them in my smoothie. So that's been a real eye opener and a great addition to my diet. I love the simplicity of it and the fact that it is fun, like you said, and then it gives my husband a hobby. And because he's retired, and it's a good thing for him to dabble with. And all the things that Linda said, I agree with. The no pesticides, no worry about contaminants, opening the refrigerator and taking out a thing of lettuce that comes in a plastic, even though it says organic, and after 2 days, it's all wilted. We never encounter that anymore. We just love salad now. The flavor is amazing. So
That's why we
it's been a great investment.
I love that. I'm sorry, my son just came in to tell me he's excited about something. Anyway, but that's why I love what we do too, because my family can hear this. And when we first got our tower garden, my kids were young and it was delivered and they set it up for me. So if my kids, they were little and they set the tower garden up, the state of the art, and they planted the seeds with me. And my boys, one of them that just came in is 16 and 14, and they will not eat a salad still, but they go in and I say, all right, if you're not gonna eat the salad, they say, we're gonna pick some greens, and they pick greens and they eat it plain, which is fine. But you know how teenagers are. They're eating it, and they said to me, I actually went out for my husband's birthday, and had an arugula salad, and he looked at it and he's like, oh, those greens they just don't look, they don't look good. I said, they were not nutritionally dense, and they don't, when you grow your own and you have this fresh produce year round, it's just really hard when you see something that's not like that. So I want to just thank you all. Fran, did you have any questions? And if you have any, you can always reach out to Shelly if you have anything specific that you think of after this call.
Yeah, no, this was really informative. Thank you very much for sharing the information. I'm kind of a pragmatist, and I drink a smoothie every morning, and I put a bunch of greens in it that I buy from Stop and Shop, and I pop open my plastic container stuff, and a couple times now I popped it open and the stuff inside was totally gnarly, and I was like, yeah, yuck, gross, and I just threw it away and had to go right back to the store and go buy some more stuff. And so then I was thinking, if there was I saw Shelley's post, even though I typically try to avoid, despite working in technology, I try to avoid technology. I spend my whole life on Zoom meetings, and here I am at 8 o'clock in a Zoom meeting. But I was thinking it'd be kind of cool if I could supplant that, even if it's just buying that one box of greens every week, which I do. If I could supplant that with some kind of gizmo in my house where I can grow that stuff, and I'm a pretty busy guy, and and then I could just use those greens and grow them. So I thought maybe this thing was that thing. It sounds like it could be. And so it sounds like, you guys are experienced in this process. And so my questions arise from the fact is, could I literally fire one of these things up in the corner of my house here, the indoor one, not the, my porch is shaded too much. So I grow shady things on my porch in the summer, but indoors 24/7, 365 type of
You'll
thing.
love it because it's in the corner of your house. When you say busy, I mean, you can leave this, you can go away for the weekend, you can go away for over a week, you can go away in the winter, you could go away for 2 weeks, come back and you still have water in your, but what you're going to have is clean produce that's alive until you're ready to eat it.
Yeah.
And what I found is I walk right into my office and I pick. What's amazing is you want to get as much variety in the human body as possible. So you've got your chard, your bok choy, your kale, your, some basil, maybe some cilantro. You pick all off of each plant, different greens, and you throw that in your smoothie every day. So you're picking every day, every day, every day, every day. And you're not driving to the store. Your produce is not sitting in the fridge. It's not depleting. It's not decaying. it's just there for you every day to fill up your smoothie.
So yeah, it's ironic because I remember the last time I used to work for Disney, and I remember going on that ride and with my daughters and thinking, that's freaking cool.
Yeah.
That was many, many moons ago. So then projecting that out. So you're saying to me, hypothetically, I can get one of these things and then have my kale and my spinach and my arugula and all this stuff growing in this thing. I could be picking all these fresh sprouts, filling my smoothie up with it every day. And then having a smoothie, and this thing kind of continuously is growing that.
Yes.
What happens with the so let's project that out over like a year or 2 years, 3 years. What does the ongoing maintenance and care and feeding of the device look like, and what does it look like what's the longevity of this thing, and what kind of routine or non-routine maintenance do you incur?
So those are great questions. You could have this for, well, 30 years. It's a system that you're going to invest in this system, and you can have it it's going to last that long. In terms of maintenance, I usually take mine down and clean it. So I have one inside year round that stays inside. The one in the basement is inside. And then when the spring comes, I take that down, I clean it, bring it outside. So I have one inside and I bring one outside. The one inside, when I take the other one out, I'll take it down once, maybe twice a year. I'll clean it. But that's it. It's pretty low maintenance for me. Linda, you can speak to it, and Mary, but when you go in and you're picking and harvesting off it, you're kind of keeping up with it. You're filling the basin. And then usually, I'll get maybe 6 months out of the plants. And then if you're picking around them, it keeps growing and keeps growing. But at some point, you might have something that might grow. What do you call it when it flowers?
Bolting.
Bolts, if it bolts, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna pop a new one in, and but it really, if you're one person eating off of it, you're gonna be able, if you can see Mary's, you're picking around each plant, so you're utilizing and it continues to grow. So Linda, if you have anything else you want to share about that, but it's so low maintenance for someone like me taking care of two.
I think as far as what I found with maintenance is every week to 2, it comes with a pH kit. And it comes with Tower Tonic. So it doesn't have any soil, because we don't need soil. We just need the vitamins and the minerals from the soil. So when you start off, it tells you exactly how much to put in. And then the water, will evaporate over time. So on the indoor one, there's a little gauge. So you can notice the water's halfway down. Sometimes I let it go all the way down, not intentionally, but all of a sudden I was like, I need to fill it back up. So you fill it back up, and then you just add the tonic back into it. And as far as the pH is kind of every week to 2 to 3, it basically depends on how the plants look. If they look okay, I don't really test the pH. But that's like a simple little, 5 milliliters of water, and you put the little, it's actually right here, this little pH.
I'm familiar. I was a lifeguard when I was a kid.
This is perfect for you.
There you go. You know how to balance. This is easier to balance than the.
I didn't do so great in science, but I definitely knew how to put the drops in the water and see what color it turned out to be.
So with the schools, I would have the kids test the pH every day, just something fun for them to do. And my own kids, when my boys were younger, I would have them test the pH, but now they're older and too cool, so I do it. But it's pretty easy to just test the pH every couple of days or every week or so. It's pretty, it looks, it's very state of the art, but it is very turnkey.
And I think
my tower garden here is so prolific right now. We planted these when we came home, when we moved here in probably November. And if you look at this, and we're still eating off of that since November. Some of the plants now are starting, we're gonna have to replant some of them.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I hope that answered some of your questions. And do you have Shelley's information?
I know how to find Shelley.
To reach out to Shelley. Okay, awesome.
Yep.
And if, if it's something that you feel that you want to move forward with, you have all of us. So, I mean, we love our towers. We have a great group on Facebook. I know you don't really want to get involved with that, but if you like just that one group, it's a tower group and people are
Yeah.
always posting like what they're doing and and you'd be blown away by all of the produce that people are growing and how they're growing it or how they're using it and all of that. So and you'd be, you'd get your help from Shelley and we'd be happy to help support you.
Andrea, just a
Mhm.
quick question. So the tower to table
Yeah.
page,
Mm-hmm.
I have been finding that, I mean, I love looking through it. I actually posted a question because I had a question on something that's growing on mine.
Mm-hmm.
Within 5 seconds, I had like 20 responses. I mean, it's a whole community. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Would that be something that Fran could like,
Absolutely.
even if he didn't,
Mhm.
purchase the tower or he wasn't
Yeah.
ready today, or
You
he
can
just wanted
add him
to,
in tonight if that's something he wants to take a look at. He can be part of it for
The
sure.
that's, I mean,
It's a Facebook group?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It's-
sure.
it's-
Sure, go ahead,
it's-
Shelley. If you want to add me into that, I'd
but
love
all
to.
you'll see, Fran, is the tower to table stuff, and it's really incredible. Everyone posts pictures of what they're growing,
Oh, yeah, that'd be-
tips on how to get the best growth, and it's really, I've been finding it very,
I reckon
very
there'd be less
useful.
drama on there than our local town. Our local town.
Oh yeah,
Definitely, I'm sure a lot of those
there's
town
no
sites could be
politics on
crazy.
this one. There's no politics.
It just seems if I could simply supplant that one component of
Yeah.
my diet, the
Mhm.
greens, the daily greens. I was thinking about building some kind of outdoor hoop house type thing this year, and honestly, it just seems like too much work.
Oh my God, Fran, you could do this year round.
Yeah, you would love
It's
it.
just-
Yeah.
So
It's just so easy.
all right, well, Shelley, I'll reach out.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on the call
Absolutely.
tonight.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay, you're
Thanks,
welcome.
everyone.
Have a great
All right,
night.
guys.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Night.